It's the Rush Hour on Sydney's Triple M. Follow us on socials at Rush Hour Triple M. We have soccer royalty or football royalty in the house. Let's do it.
Our next guest is a soccer player, so we'll avoid touching him very lightly to avoid any serious injuries. In fact, he's probably outraged that I just called him a soccer player. It's football where he's from. Proper football, yeah? And if you're a football fan, I don't even need to introduce him. He's a giant. Captain of Manchester United. Played with them for 12 years. He owns 3 different Three Lions kits from the 3 World Cups that he played in. These days, he's a partner in the new inspiring social media app, We Are 8. Here to talk about that, and maybe a few questions about the Socceroos taking on Ecuador tonight. Please welcome Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah, Rio, welcome to the Rush Hour. Welcome to Sydney.
Thank you.
Mate, you are here as an ambassador for We Are 8, a new conscious social media platform for good. Can you explain a little bit what it's about?
Yeah, it's a social media platform that doesn't tolerate hate or toxic behaviours. I think we are all well aware of the mental health issues with all the other platforms that are out there. This is like an alternative to that. But there's layers to how much goodness it does as well. But you go on it, you download it, you watch 2 minutes a day of adverts, and money drops into your wallet, and you can then forward that money onto charities, or you can pay subscriptions that you've got, phone bill, etc. And it helps with the environment. So there's layers of goodness that it does that really appeal to me as a dad as well.
Yeah.
With young children who are on social media, and I've got to govern that. So it's a great alternative for them.
How did this initiative sort of come to light? You've got your 4 kids, I've got 3, and it's scary to think, when they're on TikTok or Instagram, just the amount of crap they're watching.
Yeah, that's a main kicker for me. Like 3 of my kids are 16, 14 and 11, and most of the conversations around the table in the house are about governing social media, and they're not allowed on Instagram and Twitter, Snapchat, etc. And I never had that other weapon or alternative that I could go to them. Well, this is an alternative for you. This is something that's better. This is something where I can trust and I can let you go and play with freely without me having to be over your shoulder. And We Are 8 became that. And the founders are an Aussie, a lady called Sue Fennessy, great lady, who I sat with for probably about 4 or 5 minutes and immediately went, right, when do we start?
Yeah.
So obviously we all, got a bit of a platform to social media. How is it different to others? And, we've spoken about it off air. Kids can say whatever they want. How does this We Are 8 a lot different to the other sort of media platforms we've got?
Well, no toxic behaviours for a starter. So, for instance, it's all moderated through AI, obviously through people on the platform talking and telling as well, and human. All the other platforms, there's no repercussions for bad behaviour.
Yeah.
And you can go on those platforms without having to have any of your identity exposed. Whereas on this platform, you've got to put in all your ID and etc. so that if there is bad behaviour, they know where to go. There's repercussions. And that in itself is a huge shift from where it is at the moment.
And Australian athletes like Pat Cummins is involved, Adam Goods
great
as well.
Guys, yeah, really good
Yeah,
guys.
what'd you like? You met Goodsy a couple of times now.
Goodsy, I met him years ago. He interviewed me when I came to Sydney with United. So kind of always known about him and then reconnected through We Are 8 as well. So I've done an interview with him the other day and Pat at a community centre. So watch out for that on We Are 8 as well.
Awesome.
So congratulations on all that. But I do want to get into, obviously, your fantastic career. Can you tell me a little bit about your first ever conversation or your first call that you ever had with Sir Alex Ferguson, the emotions and just how that played out?
Yeah, obviously that is a huge figure in the game, and everyone, whether you're one of his players or an opponent, you're like, this guy's just like an icon of the game. And so when I first met, I didn't know what to call him, like Sir, Sir Alex, like Gaffer. You don't know what to say. It was just like a weird, simple thing that you think you don't ever think about or consider what I'm going to call this guy who I look up to. And I don't know. I don't even know what I said, but I just fumbled something out. And then, but he used to make you kind of. He's got an aura about him. You walk into a room and just like take over that room because of how successful he's been and the person he is.
And you've had such a decorated career, Rio. You've played obviously Man United in the stellar sides that they had. You played for England. Do you have a particular moment or a game in your career that you remember that you can highlight?
I think captaining the team to win the Champions League in Moscow was like
unbelievable,
like a unique, crazy moment because I'd got to the semi-finals with Leeds and we didn't make it. I got to various stages with Man United, and you just start thinking, "Wow, this is like a big mountain to climb. Are we ever going to get there?" And then, obviously, we got there, we done it, and that moment was like emotional moment at the time, but one of them moments where you go, you know what, actually, I signed for United, and one of the things I said in the press conference is when I leave United, hopefully I've done enough to etch myself into the history of the football club, and winning the Champions League gives you an opportunity to do that.
What was the most intimidating pitch to play on through the UK or Europe?
I think for any Man United player, you don't really understand the rivalry between Man United and Liverpool till you go to Anfield in a Man United shirt. I went there. I went there with West Ham. I went there with Leeds. I went there with Man United. Toxic, man. It was just like crazy atmosphere. The hate, the venom. So winning there is one of the best, sweetest feelings.
What about the change rooms? Like, mate, you look left to right. You got Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo. How do you work? Like, you don't want to say they got big egos, but how do you work with those sort of blokes in the room? Because, mate, they are absolute world superstars.
Yeah, but they're also humble guys as well when it comes in a change room. And it's a bit of a level playing field when you're in a change room with guys and all of different abilities, but we've all got a common goal, which is to win. And if there's one of us in there that's going, listen, I wore the armband and other players would wear the armband, but really there's probably 3 or 4 leaders in there as well. Wow. So when someone's being told, and if it's right, if it's about performance, it's not personal, then you have to accept that, or you're going to have a confrontation. You guys know it, playing your sport.
100%.
You have big confrontations. There's awkward, hard conversations to have, but they have to be had if you're going to be a successful team.
Take us back to the end of the 2013-2014 season. You're in the change room taking your boots off. Ed Woodward came up to you and said you're, no longer required at Man U. How'd that make you feel?
Yeah, it wasn't the best moment in my career, especially because I felt that I had more to offer. Not even just on the pitch, but in that window of the summer, like 4 big players, big like characters in that dressing room had to leave, like myself, Edwin, Patrice Evra, Ryan Giggs. So like
Giggsy
that's
too.
4 like big personalities who
Part of the furniture then.
yeah, who can influence. And listen, I forget football. I think like if you take 2 of them out, I go, you know what, I understand that, but then there's 2 still in there to kind of help and guide the younger players through this next phase and this next period, given that the manager Ferguson wasn't there anymore. So I think it was probably in hindsight, I'd say that the club probably could have dealt with that better. And the way they told me, I well documented that I weren't happy.
Mm-hmm.
Rio, you experienced racial vilification as a player. I mean, our major codes in Australia here have had battles with fans overstepping the mark at times. How would you deal with someone who does overstep the mark in terms of racial vilification?
I think there needs to be repercussions, and there needs to be laws put in place where these people get treated in the right way. There needs to be really severe and strong kind of things put in place where it makes someone think and go, I don't want to be on the wrong side of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't believe in cancel culture. I believe in re-educating people and making sure that they get educated and they can be brought back into the sport knowing that they've been educated and they're a better understanding of other people's cultures.
Well said.
And mate, on a lighter note, seen a few pictures going around down at Bondi Beach the other day. Shirt was off, mate. The surfing, did you enjoy it? And mate, how do you keep yourself in such good nick?
No, I loved it on the beach. It was brilliant going on there. But I wasn't surfing. I keep saying it. I was probably surviving more than anything. I wasn't like no good surfer. But it was great going in there. And Dino, the guy who looked after me in there, I was thankful that he was about. But no, do you know what? I'm actually putting on weight now, bulking, like because my missus is pregnant. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna just. I went to I'm just about 6 weeks ago. I went I'm going to shred, I'm going to cut down now, I'm going to get my abs back and stuff like that. And she went, yeah, and I'm going to be putting on weight while you're doing that and looking worse and you're going to be looking better. So I said, you know what, actually, I'll go with it. Yeah, so I said, you know what, to keep peace in the house, I'm going to put weight on with you and see how far I can go and then we can both get back down to our normal weight again together.
So any regrets in your playing career? You never played overseas. There was offers after that Champions League semi-final. There was offers from Barcelona and then eventually Real Madrid, but you never took them up.
I don't know if I regret it, but I do look back and think, what would it have been like? It probably would have been nice. But the problem was, is the times that I had opportunities to maybe go abroad, the teams I was going to be going to were in transition. I just got to Man United where I was winning consistently, and that's all I dreamed about doing was winning. So I found it difficult to leave, and I grew to love Man United as well. So I don't regret it, but yeah, I do sometimes think that experience that could have been nice.
Yeah, one more. You know when because you've got so many international players come to Man United, how'd you go with the language barriers, like trying to get some of the communication on the field? Because, you know, when things
Set
happen,
pieces and things
yeah,
like
you're just
that,
so
yeah.
quick to hit it on the head. But how'd you go with all the language barriers over there?
I think with football, I think with a lot of sports, sometimes it's like just having a voice.
Yep.
Like to move people. Do you know what I mean? And the tone of your voice can make people move in the right and at the right speed that you need them to move. Do you know what I mean? So, but then you also got Patrice Evra, he just spoke 5 languages. Like,
Unbelievable.
Pat, tell him move now. But like in the change room, you talk like that. But on the pitch, is very much like just like tone and loudness and stuff like that, and aggressive sometimes. And so you guys, it's similar for you guys, I'm sure.
But there's also players who that speak the same language that don't get along. I mean, you probably played with Cole and Dwight York, and at stages they didn't even talk to each other.
There was people in my dressing room who I wouldn't go out for a drink with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's
Same
just
as us,
part,
yeah.
Exactly. But that's the way it is, man. And then when you get on the pitch, again, you've got a common goal to win. So you put aside that kind of stuff. So it's not a problem.
It's the Rush Hour on Sydney's Triple M. We are so blessed to have Rio Ferdinand in the studio at the moment. We are going to do a quick fire with you this now. So let's have a look. Early 2000 Arsene Wenger's Arsenal or mid 2000 Jose Mourinho's Chelsea?
Ooh, both top teams. Probably in the top 3 hardest teams I played against. I'm going to go for the Chelsea team.
Jose Mourinho. Yeah. Okay. Who's the better player, Harry Kewell or Mark Viduka?
Ooh.
Who's the better looking? Kewell.
Different question.
What about Bozza? We left Bozza out of there.
Sorry, Mr. Actually. I would say, just in my experience, when I got to Leeds, if I was judging, I would say Mark Viduka. But I think in defence of Harry Kewell, he had a bad Achilles injury at that time as well. So I didn't see the best of him when I went there. But Mark Viduka was a serious player.
You loved your time at Leeds, didn't you? In terms of the spirit.
Oh, the spirit was unbelievable. We partied crazy, but we played hard. We had a really young team, and it's a one-club city as well, which is a big difference. You go out, everyone looks after you, everyone's happy to see you. Rather than you go out in Manchester, you could bump into a City fan at times.
Yeah.
So,
what was bigger, winning the EPL 3 times in a row or 2008 Champions League?
oh, Champions League, I think. But that winning 3 on a row was crazy, man.
Yeah,
It was
Just
good.
ask you, when Ronaldo missed that penalty, what were you thinking? Were you worried?
I can't swear. Can I?
Say whatever you want, mate.
Yeah, no, it was. I don't know, man. It was just like you gutted, but there's so many more penalties left. So
I
you
think
think
Terry
you
missed as
got a
well.
bit of time. Yeah. Then when he missed, I was like, obviously that feeling. If you can bottle that feeling and put it on the shelves in the supermarket, you'd be a billionaire.
Most intimidating European away day?
Intimidating. Ooh. Where was intimidating? Celtic.
Wow.
Celtic was like that roar as the game starts. I've never heard anything as loud as that in a football stadium.
Ange Postecoglou's done a great job up there.
Great job, yeah, really good.
Bigger rival, City or Liverpool?
Liverpool.
Yeah. And pick a 5-a-side team of former teammates. Who's your 5-a-side?
Former teammates. Cristiano.
Yep.
Rooney.
Yep.
Scholes. Gerrard Lampard.
And what about any of the current superstars? Who would you want in that team? Like Mbappe?
Mbappe.
Yep.
Yeah, quick. No, not even like. I don't need
even blink.
Don't need a blink. Yeah, just Mbappe is just like what I see and what I saw at the World Cup. Wow.
No, well,
Ridiculous.
we just want to thank you very much for coming and spending a bit of time on the Rush Hour, and all our listeners will absolutely love this.
No,
so
thank you.
enjoy your
Good to
time
see
in
you guys.
Australia.
Thanks for having us. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Rio Ferdinand.